This is Twit.
People getting all sorts of PO'd about this one. LastPass made a very controversial announcement today. They announced that the free tier of their password manager will soon require users to choose either mobile phone, like mobile devices, as a kind of like a blanket category for it to run on, or computers. So in other words, if you use a computer and you use your smartphone and you want LastPass to manage all of your passwords, log you in on both of those devices, you're out of luck unless you're paying for their premium tier. The premium tier costs $3 a month. Family tier costs $4 a month. Here in this household, we are premium, full disclosure, like I use LastPass. I love it. I use the premium tier. So arguably this doesn't affect me, but like directly. And also LastPass was a sponsor for a long time. They are no longer a sponsor now, just as that disclosure as well. But it's interesting to me from the perspective of like practicing safe internet is something that we've all had to learn how to do. And I think there's probably a lot of people who have introduced a solution like LastPass to, let's just say like, me introducing LastPass to my parents, finally get them practicing safe passwords with a LastPass solution, only to now suddenly be faced with, okay, now we kind of have to change things. I get it from the business perspective. As a user, it just kind of sucks. What do you guys think?
I think, this is something that we're just all going to have to get used to, is for paying for stuff.
Fair enough.
It costs money to maintain these, to run the servers, to, keep updating the software. And, if you get value out of it, maybe we should be paying for it. I'd rather pay. I mean, I've been paying for LastPass Premium for better part of a decade. So I would just as soon continue paying for that, rather than having ads inserted into it.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, Sam, I echo you exactly. We talked about this in the past, but we've in the past 10 plus years have cultivated a environment of, I don't want to say entitlement but there's an expectation to not have to pay for stuff. Right, like the marketplace has gotten so bad, and I've dealt with this directly on my own for my company, for my startup Scorebit, which is building basically a platform as a service company. We offer our software at a subscription for $3.99 a month or $40 a year. You get access to the platform, and it discounts if you buy more. And I'm not trying to turn this to an ad, but I'm just saying that like we've tried to do it in a way that allows us to remain solvent, but we still need to get paid in order to keep everything on. And that's been the biggest detractor, the biggest complaint we've gotten from customers is like, well, I don't want to pay $4 a month. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to go drop $20 at the arcade on pinball. Like, what is $4 a month to you? Right. Like, so it's fascinating when people hear monthly subscription cost, what the visceral reaction is. And, and I understand it because there's a lot of stuff I don't want to pay for. There's stuff like LastPass that I do pay for. But I think that there's the majority of people feel an expectation that this stuff should just be free. So it's a byproduct of the strange world we live in now.
Yeah. Majority of people also, I think, just because everything is just money all the time, constantly, just you got to throw money at everything all the time. And so not with regards to Scorebit, but just with regards to something like LastPass. I think what really sucks, for lack of better terminology, is when you really get into an app or an ecosystem, or you really, come to rely on something over the years, and then it just kind of changes the routine on you. And that's always kind of a bummer.
But but the thing is that it's not like they're doing it maliciously. Like, I'm sure that they wrung their hands on this a lot, and nobody because they're going to get this backlash. But like, do you like it? Do you want to keep using it? Do you see where the story is going? Right? Like, that's kind of.
Do you want it to go away, or do you want to have it available?
Yeah. I mean, that is, ultimately that is the point, right? Like if let's say you have been using this for a good part of a decade as a free user, and you've gotten value out of it as a free user, maybe that's the indication that it is good enough to pay for, especially when you're talking like $3 or $4 a month. I can also understand the idea, people push back on this idea that like, never, before now, was there any indication that this free service would suddenly turn paid? So I had no expectation of this to happen. But maybe that's the point, is that maybe when something is free, we should always enter into it understanding that at some point that free contract might turn into a paid contract, because these are businesses. They need to do what they need to do to stay in business, and free doesn't last forever. Like, maybe there are some examples of that, but there are a lot of examples of not that. And time and time, I mean, Google Photos is another example of that. We just talked about that a couple of months ago. This just happens.
Yep.
Part of how it all rolls, I suppose.
Part of how it all rolls. How the
a lot of people.
crumbles.
I'm hearing about Bitwarden as kind of alternatives that people are turning to. So you have alternatives. If you really want to, end up going away from LastPass, totally fine and totally possible. I think you can export your data out of there and import it into a solution like Bitwarden, and you'll be fine. So you've got options, not the end of the world.
There's always options. There's always something else. There are things you can spin up yourself. There's it's just a matter of how deep you want to go to it. I, for one, if I find value for it, I don't mind paying for it. But recognize that trying times and not every, some stuff is a luxury and that sort of thing.